back and forth, and that's only allowing me to have half as many times to actually attack them. Whereas if you wait, you basically get a chance every time it moves, which is way better. And we're actually off and running here, so once again, Ryan, thank you for being here. You will be monitoring Fubzo's progress. I'll be watching Rat. And so in case anyone's not sure about the layout, Rat is obviously on the left, that's why the name's above it, and Fubzo is on the right. Fubzo is the Franker Z dog, and Rat is a rat. So we have a dog versus rat right now.
Fubzo had a quick reset, and then he got a Shrine of Space, so he's got himself a map now, used up a bomb.
That's nice. That's a really good thing for racing, because you'll be able, especially, so it's usually pretty obvious where you need to go in the first zone, but the second and third zone, it's really nice to have a map, because you can get pointed in the right direction very quickly, and you can waste a lot of time looking around. I've been there.
You could also find where the chests are and stuff like that. If you need an item, if you've got a bit of a lead, then you can decide, oh, there's a chest over there, or where's the shop, so you're just not wasting time doing anything.
Absolutely. And what we're seeing from Rat here is very typical Rat behavior, where he basically just goes as fast as possible through the first zone, which he's now on the boss floor. So he's already dropped down 4 levels, or he's dropped down to the 4th level. Fubzo found himself a cat, so he has a unique attack pattern compared to Rat's just single dagger. He's actually able to attack the same sorts of squares. It's kind of complicated to explain that, Cat. I don't know if you have a good way of explaining it. But basically, it attacks the 5 squares in front of you, so directly in front, 2 diagonal, and 2 beside, but 1 at a time, and allows you to still move while doing so, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know, if someone has a link to the wiki that explains it, it has a visual for you that's pretty good.
Yeah, looking at a picture is probably the best way, but I usually say that it's like a U shape around you. The flail and the cat both kind of make a U shape.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good way to put it.
The cat will only get one of them, and you also move if you can. Oh, and the glass rapier for Fubzo, glass rapier map.
Oh, wow. Oh, and he's got the thing that tells you. I've never seen that, but it tells you what the thing does. I actually decided not to turn that on. But yeah, if anyone's just starting out getting the game, if you're deciding you want to give it a shot, you can actually turn it on so that every item will inform you on what it will do in a little sort of speech bubble above it. So it's a good way to learn the items very quickly. And yeah, so Rat actually found himself a glass broadsword, which is a pretty fast item. I know it's one that I had a discussion with you early on, where I was wanting spears and long swords, and you were saying to me, no, that broadsword, it hits 3 things at the same time, so it can really do a lot of damage very quickly, and I've come to learn that's in fact definitely true, and it can be a very fast weapon. And we're seeing Rat actually moving right on to Zone 3.
Yeah, Fubzo not far behind. He got a second Shrine of Space, so he took the shovel out of it. So now he's got himself a glass shovel. Also, he's got the ultimate build. He's got a torch too. He just needs to not take any hits, but this is the speed build that you want.
Yeah, when you're going racing and you're racing against Rat, you're gonna want a glass rapier and a map. That's pretty sweet. I mean, he's got yeah, like you said, he's got a nice torch. I doubt he's gonna end up using that transmog spell.
Yeah, probably not. It takes a little too much time and brain power also to decide, when to use it, when not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm still trying to sort out the strats with that thing. And Fubzo had a little bit of a swarm there at the exit stairs, and he's moved on to 3-2, and they're actually both on the same level. I'd say Rat is just a couple beats ahead, just slightly ahead, but Fubzo does have the faster build in this case.
Oh, Fubzo with the Ring of Courage now. This will be interesting.
Oh boy, I don't know how I feel about that decision. Ring of Courage plus Rapier can be a little spicy sometimes.
May have been a mistake pickup. He may not have done it on purpose.
But from what I know about Fubzo, I feel like that's exactly the kind of thing he'd really like to pick up. I don't know. I just feel like he's very YOLO. Like, he really, really pushes his runs like crazy fast. Like, to his detriment sometimes, I would say. I mean, I don't want to say anything negative about him, but I certainly find that, like, he will just go as fast as possible sometimes.
Well, it's smart. He's needing to keep up with Rat here, but he just broke his rapier.
Oh no! Takes a hit from the Nightmare, and Rat is actually on his Deep Blues fight here. So we'll see how he handles it. He does have a holstered weapon as well, so if he takes a hit, which it does not look like he's going to do, he can actually use his holster and switch over to the Titanium Longsword, which is one of my favorite weapons, frankly, because it's just so safe. And there it is. I think Rat actually switched to his glass broadsword there for a split second, just to take that extra hit on the king, which was kind of cool. Yeah, he did.
Finish him off.
That was smart. Nice play by Rat, and that's 1 win for Rat. So he's up a 1-0 best of 5.
Yeah, he saved a few seconds by switching to it there because the king still had 3 health left. So if he hit him with the longsword, it would have knocked him back. But he didn't need to save those seconds, but it still was quite close. That was impressive by Rat because Fubzo had an almost ideal build there with the map and the glass rapier, but Rat still pulled it out.
Yeah, well, Fubzo got a little too deep there with that Nightmare. Taking a hit from a Nightmare always feels kind of bad. I think one of the things that I love about this game, and what I loved, you pointed it out in that recent interview that was posted on the subreddit, about how you wanted the game to be fair like Spelunky's fair. And I cannot agree with you more about that. I think that it is definitely a super fair game in that pretty much all the time you die or take damage, it's your own fault. It's something you sort of just misread, or you got yourself in a bad situation, and I think that might have been what happened there with Fubzo, is he just kind of got in a little bit too close with that Nightmare, and because the Nightmare has the darkness around it, sometimes it can be hard to see, and you got to kind of back off and see what's there.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of the reason why I like speedrunning this game so much. I didn't actually intend for this to be like a speedrun game when we first started making it, but when I added that speedrun timer and tried going fast, I felt that it was super fun because it's fair, but like by going fast, you force yourself into situations that it's possible what's going on and stuff like that, but it taxes you mentally to try and figure out what you need to do. So you still don't get pissed off when the game kills you, but it's because you're going fast, it's difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's got that difficulty factor, but when you die, it's just kind of like, ah, crap. That was me.
Yeah.
For the most part. There's some rage out there sometimes.
There's a few things like wraiths can appear in bad spots that screw you over, but that's the reason why I made the wraiths only do half-hearted damage to you. Like, most of the time, you'll be able to take that hit without dying.
Right.
And also, there are situations where you should just not get yourself into. Like, don't be in a narrow corridor where a wraith could appear behind you and kill you if you can't take that hit, right? So there are ways you can avoid it, although it is still frustrating when it happens.
Yeah, it can be, especially if you're in like a sort of high-risk race situation like this, where there's a lot on the line and that sort of thing. And I don't know if you saw it there, that end of that 1-3 by Fubzo, but that was a perfect example of how his playstyle and my playstyle is very different. I would have just cleaned up those enemies, whereas he was pushing very hard to get to that exit stair. He ended up having to clean up the enemies anyways, but as I was watching, I was just going, oh geez, what's he get himself into? But he handled it just fine, so that's cool.
Yeah, he ran right in there, but yeah, if he'd made one false move, he was dead. Oh, now he grabs a glass whip.
Nice, so we have dueling glass whips. Rat also has a glass whip, so that's pretty cool. The glass whip is an interesting weapon. Basically, it attacks, any whip actually, attacks the 5 squares horizontal in front of you. And I don't know how better to explain it. Again, that's something you might want to look up on the wiki just to see the hitbox for it. But, I mean, it makes sense when you're actually playing the game, but if you're new to this game, it might take you a second to sort of realize how it's attacking. It attacks sort of the horizontal column or row in front of you. And since it's glass, like I've said with the other glass in the pre-show there, it actually it does 4 damage, but if you get hit, it breaks. And that's bad.
I describe it as like a broadsword, because I think people understand the width, the 3 width of the broadsword. But you just say, imagine if a broadsword had 5 width. That's what the whip is like, except it'll only hit one of those enemies, whereas the broadsword will hit all 3.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And just wanted to point out that Rat is going super duper fast. I'm sorry that we're not commentating exactly everything that's happening here, but I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Rat is really motoring here. He was like 3 minutes into zone 3. That is so fast. I mean, he already had a sub 4 run. His first run was sub 3. Nope, sub 5. Used a fear spell. He actually got hit by an elemental there. Used the fear spell to clear everything out of the way. This is going to be interesting because he's actually now in a really bad situation. He's got his freeze spell, but he's only got basically a level 1 dagger. When your glass breaks, you get yourself just like basically a level 1 dagger when you pick up the shard.
Fubzo just caught up to him because of that. Fubzo was about 2 levels behind, but then Rat had to spend time messing around after losing that whip. And it's funny, their builds were almost identical for a while. They had Glass Whip and Freeze Spell.
Yeah. And actually, Fubzo has a very safe item there, that new Ring of Shielding, which is wonderful. I love it. Where basically if you take a hit, it pops a shield spell. And now what we're seeing is a big difference here. The YOLO style of Fubzo is he's jumping down trapdoors no problem. And Rat's actually being pretty hesitant about the trapdoors. Now, he just did jump down one, and he's off to his boss. So this will actually, I think this is going to come down to the wire here, for sure, because this is going to take him a while to deal with this dragon. Hopefully he can. I mean, he's got those elementals running around. No! Down goes Rat. I mean, you leave the elementals alive, and you're doing only 1 heart of damage. It's going to take you forever to get through that. In fact, I don't even know. I'd love to know if anyone's ever done that with just a level 1 dagger.
Yeah,
that blue dragon trapdoor.
Tough to go and kill the elementals too, because if you get too far away from the dragon in that tight space, he's just going to freeze you and you'll die because of that. So like you're rocking a hard place.
Yeah, that was a bad situation for Rat. He definitely wanted something like a Dire Bat or a Banshee or something. Wait, are there Banshees in Zone 3? That's like the noobiest question I've ever asked.
Yeah, there sometimes are.
Okay.
And it looks like Fubzo is watching because he just went to a health shop.
Yep, he's slowing things down. Very smart. I would even check that weapon, just because whips can be a bit of a problem sometimes on boss fights in Zone 3. I'm not sure who he's got left if it's Death Metal, but if it is, Death Metal with a whip is kind of funky. And it is, so we'll see how he handles it. He does have the freeze spell, and he's just rushing in like crazy.
He ripped him up. He took advantage of the fact that in that patch where we updated the Frost Dagger, the boss battles, the boss enemies don't teleport anymore while they're frozen. So he froze Death Metal and then whipped him repeatedly, so he wasn't able to teleport away.
Yeah, that's actually really nice, because it's really annoying when it's like you use freeze, but it's only effective for 1 hit essentially before they teleport away from you there. So, all right, well guys, look at this. We're definitely not seeing a 3-0 here. It's now 1-1. Fubzo taking advantage of Rat taking a hit. So, I'm just gonna let the ref know that I think we're gonna skip out on the interviews, just because we do have a lot of racing to get through here. So we're gonna try and just keep going as much as possible. And then maybe we'll do some interviews when at the end of the round robin there. I know people actually have been enjoying the interviews. I'm not sure what you've been thinking of them, Ryan, but it's nice to sort of let the racers kind of have a say about their run and what they were thinking at the time.
Yeah, I like it, especially when there's something ridiculous that happened. Like occasionally you'll go in there and say, "Can't believe such and such just happened to you. You died with this and that." Like, it's fun to get their reaction. Or, "Why did you drop that thing?" And they go, "I know."
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's very easy for us commentators to just be like, what was he thinking? Why did he do this thing? But when you're in game like that, it can be really tricky sometimes. Now I'm finding is Rat's looking a little like slow or something. Maybe his stream is looking a little jumpy or not quite the same frame rate or something.
Yeah, it's same for me.
Okay. Well, hopefully that doesn't cause buffering issues.
Ring of Peace.
Ring of Peace. Now, that's a really nice pickup for racing, especially because what it does is bring down the level of the mini-boss. So instead of fighting the higher-tier mini-bosses, you fight the low-tier ones that you rarely see too much of besides Zone 1-1. But that's such a nice pickup because they have less health, so obviously you're going to waste less beats even just killing the enemies. Let alone you also get a reduced enemy spawn amount, right? I'm just going to make sure I'm right about everything I say. Usually I say it with confidence, but now I'm with the guy who actually made the game. So I just want to be sure.
What it actually does, I don't know if I've ever actually explicitly said what it does, but the way that it generates the enemies is it makes rooms. Oh, look at that heavy plate for Rat, but you can't kill. Oh, you can kill the shopkeeper. You can kill
the shopkeeper. Oh, and I love the heavy plate. What has he got? Wings?
And a halo, yeah, I guess.
That's like Angel Rat. That's pretty entertaining.
I was going to say that the way that the Ring of Peace works is that the game figures out what enemies to place in each room that it creates, and then afterwards it goes through and takes one out at random from each room. So each room has one less enemy.
Yeah, and I think the Ring of War works the same way, if I'm not mistaken, where it will basically count the rooms and add an extra enemy. Is that right?
Yeah, each room gets one extra enemy added. Yeah.
So in Zone 3, are they just huge rooms, or how does that work?
Yeah, they are still rooms. It's just that they get carved out until they kind of connect and become like a cavern type thing. So That's why I've said before, Dagger of Phasing for Fubzo and Ring of Peace. I love it.
That's a great build. I love it.
And Rat hasn't got a bad build too. If he can get a decent weapon with this armor, he's not going to die. Like Rat with a heal spell and a heavy plate, and now Fubzo with this with that dagger, 3 damage dagger, he can open up all the crates and barrels.
Yeah, which is great. There's so many goodies in those crates and barrels that you're going to want to pick up.
Yep, just got himself a crown of teleportation. So.
Yep. Now Rat's probably hoping and praying to get something nice out of this chest, and does he ever? Now, it's a bit of one of these builds that kind of bug me a little bit, where it's like, I'm super safe, I won't die, but I have a weapon that one hit will break it. And then my run is like, you know, then he's going to be in the same situation as before, where he's going to have a level 1 dagger, which he just did. And we have a runner, and he has a lot of enemies to deal with if he wants to get that dagger back. I don't even know what Rat's going to do right now.
Run to the shops.
Yeah, the halo and wings is pretty fitting right now, as he's pretty much a pacifist.
Where's the shop? Bottom left, you can see on the minimap that it's got the mushrooms in it.
Yeah, it's got the mushrooms in it. So I think he's going to take some hits here. I don't know if it's worth it for him to just reset at this point. If he gets out of this, he is stuck. He needs to move. He's going to get his dagger, or his glass shard. That was insane. That's the kind of thing you have post-game interviews about.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what we were talking about before. Unfortunately, he is just not having any luck with the weapons. He is in a bad place with weapons. Now, we'll see if he can recover from this. Right at this point, I mean, Fubzo is really moving ahead. He's into Zone 3 already. And you're going to be a little sad about this, but he picked up a titanium cat instead of that.
What the heck is that about Fubzo?
I would have kept the phasing. I'm not going to lie. I'm not just saying that because you're here. I would have kept it. Although, I have to admit that even just a level 2, like a titanium cat is quite good in Zone 3 because you can get around those shields, whereas a titanium spear is not as good.
Sure, but you can with the dagger of phasing, it goes right through any shield and stuff, right?
Ah, very good point. Yep, that's absolutely true.
And also, it's great for the bosses. Like, I think he may have Conga last. Oh, he damaged the shopkeeper.
Oh no! Uses his blood magic. I hate when that happens. Did he just fire off a fireball spell and end up damaging the...
I think, yeah, he accidentally damaged the shopkeeper. I think it was accidental, and then his crown of...
Knowing Fubzo, it might have been on purpose.
Maybe. His crown of teleportation got activated, and so he wasn't there anymore. The shopkeeper came running after him. Oh man, he just narrowly escapes the Minotaur there too. It's crazy.
That was a clutch move, exactly, Mendy, and that was super clutch. And Rat getting trolled, picks up a titanium whip, not great for Zone 3. That sucks, and it's up to Fubzo here to just finish it off. Yeah, I have to say, Rat is probably the favorite in this, just because he's been so strong in all of the racing, but Fubzo is obviously a very strong racer. I'd say, if anything, the worst thing going for Fubzo right now is that he's going to be a little tired. He's actually in Europe, so it's very, very late there. He'll probably, once the actual tournament portion of this happens, it's going to be like 5 in the morning for him.
Wow, I can't believe he managed to survive that. The shopkeeper coming at you, like, if it hits you, you're dead. It doesn't matter how much armor you've got, you're just dead.
Yeah, that was
Unless
awesome.
You got glass armor, like I guess. But
yeah, he kept that together there. I'm actually going to pop in. I have to talk to them about that.
Yeah.
So I'll be right back. Hey, everybody. Wow. I mean, I was saying to everybody that I was considering sort of not having too many post interviews just because we have a lot of races to get through, so I probably won't pop in too often, but I had to pop into that race because you both had some amazing things happen during your race. Fubs, why don't you tell me about that, what you did with the shopkeeper there?
Why, how did I even activate that shopkeeper?
Honestly, I don't know.
It's a fireball spell. Yeah, I was going to say, I think when he fireball spelled, it might have hit him, like, off screen or something.
No, wow. What happened was, I used my blood magic on my fireball spell, and I activated my kernel teleportation.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the blood magic that activated it. You were standing right next to the shopkeeper, so he hit you immediately.
That's so funny. Oh, man. And then, yeah, using your blood magic to take him out, that was really, really clutch. That was very awesome. And so nicely done, Fubs. This has been very entertaining. And Rat, That was one heck of a run you had there. And I mean literally like running away. What were you thinking? Were you considering resetting there, or?
No.
No, you felt
no,
like...
No need to reset, no.
No?
I just didn't find a black chest, so that's like the thing that cost me a lot there.
Yeah, you didn't...
Yeah, I mean, it was just a derp on my part, so, you know.
Yeah, you got kind of caught there by, I don't even remember what it was now, but it was just...
It was a wind mage and 3 skeletons.
Wind spell! And you sort of were still avoiding the shops. Was that on purpose? Like, just to keep going fast? Oh, you killed the shop. Ah, well, there you go. Then obviously you're making the right decision. I should never have doubted you, Rat. Okay. Well, good luck on the next races, guys. I'm going to take off. But yeah, these have been super fun. All right, and we're back. So they're going to get going in 1 second. So it is 2-1 Fubzo. We'll see what happens. It sounded like Rat was a little bit more focused. A little bit, maybe... I'm not going to say nervous, but he definitely sounded a little more down to business.
Yeah, well, I think he's not used to losing in the Balls of Steel tournament. I think he lost just 1 round ever, and now he's lost 2 rounds here in a single match, so he might be a little surprised. But yeah, Fubzo's playing well, and Rat's just has lost a couple of glass weapons.
Yeah, just 1 mistake costs you the race. It's such a ridiculously high level now that you're not even seeing any sort of like ping-ponging back and forth. It's just straight. If you die, that's it. Which might make you think, you know, okay, now do we slow down a bit? Is that a better choice?
Well, I think that in the first race, despite the fact that Fubzo had Glass Rapier map, Rat beat him. I think Rat is just faster, but if he makes any mistakes or anything like that, Fubzo hasn't died. Fubzo has not died, right? So if Rat makes any mistakes, that's it. If Rat doesn't make any mistakes, he wins. So, you know, if he keeps going that speed, Rat, he's going to need to not die. And if he can do that, he'll win. So it's just up to him if he feels confident enough to pull that off.
Right. Yeah, so what we're seeing is sort of a difference of philosophies a little bit, with Fubzo being a little safer, which I never thought I'd hear myself say, and Rat, I mean, going as fast as possible. And maybe that's a matter of Rat being, does a lot of speedrunning, and Fubzo does more racing. Maybe that's why.
Could be. RNGesus just gave Fubzo a map in the shop. It also has a dagger of phasing in that shop. Is he going to go backward? He's got the glass whip now.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, picking up that glass whip out of the Mimic. I feel like he's not going to. If I'm not mistaken, I remember the last race, that Condor 4 there, he actually got like a glass whip every run. And I asked him if that was a problem, and he's like, no, I love it. So I think he's a fan. Pretty sure he's a fan.
Yeah, I think if you have enough mental power to calculate what's going to happen, the whip is just fine. And in many instances, like, you can see him whipping behind skeleton shields here. Like, it's actually faster. You know, if you had a broadsword, he would not be able to whip behind the shield like that. If you had a longsword, he wouldn't be able to do that. So it can actually save you time. So some people, you know, just automatically assume it's slower, but in some situations it is faster. Yeah,
it might sort of like level out, whereas, like, you know, you get caught up on enemies and stuff that you normally just slip by, but also, yeah, you, like you were saying, you kind of get killing those shields, or get killing behind those shields, which I guess, like, is why when it comes to that sort of strategy, that's why the flail is so good. Because, I mean, you can hit behind the shields, and you just kind of roll through everything, so it's pretty nice in that regard.
Yeah, and Rat with the flail now. So we got flail versus whip. Fubzo declined a whip ring of courage. He decided to not take that ring of courage, which is always kind of fun when you have it with the whip.
Yeah, well, only in my opinion with like a strong whip. You don't want a level 1 whip if you're... Oh, no. This is going to be interesting for Fubzo. Oh, no, he's fine. Yeah, whip is really hard to do fast strats with on Conga. But he seems to be handling it just fine. But yeah, like Steak saying in the chat, Ring of Courage is definitely the best with either that or Glass Flail is also really good. So now what we've got here is the whip only hits 1 enemy at a time, but it's of course glass, so it's gonna do a lot of damage. Whereas Rat has the flail, which is gonna possibly hit 5 enemies at a time, but it's only titanium.
Yeah, I think another thing about the whip is that it almost kind of forces you to be safe. It kind of forces you to kill everything. So you can't just run past everything. You're probably going to hit most of the things that you're running past. So it makes you be safer.
Yeah, it makes you not YOLO past all of the enemies. It's true.
Yeah.
All right, so Rat's taking a bit of an advantage here, and of course he has my favorite weapon for when I don't have range. When I first started playing this game, I just refused to take anything without range. I had to learn that that was a stupid idea, because there's some really good uses of flail and whip and broadsword, but I was always range. But of course the war drum really fixes all of that. The war drum is great for range. I mean, it allows you to pull the enemies closer to you, which is what I think Rat should be doing here, as he's sort of running away. Could use the war drum instead.
Speaking of range, Lead Mango in the chat asked me if I've considered an item that increases your range, and I have, but it's not clear what increase your range actually means. Like, what would that do to a dagger? Does it turn it into a longsword? What does that do to a whip?
Yeah, is it like a double thick whip?
Yeah, what does that do to a flail? So I think the reason why I haven't done it is because it would be confusing.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't think people will understand what's happening. I think people are already confused enough by whips as it is, so
yeah.
I don't want
Yeah,
to do
I think that's probably wise. And then also, what would it be? Like, as just an item.
Well, Fubzo there finished off Deep Blues, no problem.
Rat.